What's up, y'all? My name's Isaiah, and this is a Search for Purpose. Now, this channel exists for those people who are still figuring out and still trying to figure out their way of life, and just trying to find that pathway. Now, this is not a highlight reel. It's not a finished testimony. It's just a real thing. It's the actual journey of my journey. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on real life, not to complain or to perform a struggle, but because I think somebody who's watching needs to know that they're not alone. And we're gonna talk about the pressure of juggling multiple things at once, what the Bible says about the season of grinding, and what shifts when you stop measuring yourself by how far you haven't gone. So let's start paying attention to what God is doing right now. So let's get into it. So let me give you an actual picture of what my life looks like right now. So right now, I'm serving, and that means my income is variable. Some weekends are good, sometimes it's slow, sometimes I make money, sometimes I don't. And you can't always predict of how busy it's gonna be, but yeah, I show up anyway. Um, I'm also getting into insurance sales, because I knew I needed something to shift. I know I needed something to change, and I wanted to change my situation. So I got into insurance so I can learn a skill set and to really make my life do a whole 360. Um, that's something that I can scale beyond just trading my time for dollars. So I'm learning that. And then I have my brand Patient Struggle. Patient Struggle is a streetwear brand that I started and that I've been building on my own. And it's centered around enjoying the journey, perseverance, and faith. Now, my brand slogan is always embrace your journey. It's an endurance wear for the unfinished. And I believe in it deeply because it's not just a name, it's something that means something that everybody can relate to. Now, it's a message, but I'm building a brand with limited time and capital while working two other things is one of the hardest things I've ever done. And when nobody tells you about juggling all of that, it's not just physically tiring, it's mentally exhausting to care about multiple things at once and feel like none of them are moving fast enough. You start doing this thing where you calculate. You think if I had more time or more money or more connections, then I'd be further along than you currently are. And maybe that's true, but I had to stop living like that and then start asking, what is God doing with me now? Now, there's a passage that completely reframes how I see this season. Ecclesiastes 9:11. The race is not to shift. The race is not to swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor the bread to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent, nor favor to the skillful, but time and chance happen to them all. Read that again. The race is not the swift. That means the fastest person don't always win. The strongest don't always come out on top. And the smartest don't always get the reward first. Now, time and chance happens to them all. And now some people read that verse and feel hopeless and like nothing you do matters, but that's not what it's saying. What it's saying is your timeline is not determined by your pace alone. There's a sovereign element to when things break open, and that should take pressure off of you. Because if the outcome were purely about who works, your pace alone, wait, the if the outcome was purely about who works the hardest, I'd have been further along by now. You probably would too. But God doesn't operate on a mediocrity level. He operates on purpose. And then there's this Galatians 6:9. It's actually on one of my pieces. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Two things jump out on me every time I read that verse, because first, at a proper time, not your time, the proper time, meaning there's a time that's been designed for harvest. It's not random. Second, if we do not give, that's the only condition. Not if you're perfect, not if you never struggled or doubt. Just don't quit. That's it. That's the assignment. Here's what changed for me. I stopped asking why isn't this further along, and started asking what is this building in me, because every single role I'm carrying right now is teaching me something. Serving tables taught me how to stay humble, how to handle pressure, how to show up and perform even when you don't feel like it. You can't take off that resume, but it lives in you. And learning insurance sales is teaching me how to communicate value, how to handle rejection, how to think about money and legacy in a way I never did before. And patient struggle, even in the slow season, is teaching me consistency, discipline, what it means to believe in something before anyone else does. None of that is wasted. And I think that's what God is trying to show me, that this season isn't the delay before my purpose. This season is part of my purpose, because the brand name isn't just an accident. It's not something that I just randomly came up with. Patient struggle is something that I'm truly living. I think that everybody has to go through that season. Everybody has to go through their own patient struggle. And maybe you are too, living your current patient struggle. But maybe the thing you're going through right now, the multiple jobs, the slow build, the feeling of being stretched thin, maybe that's not a sign that you're doing it wrong. Maybe that's exactly what God is using. Using to make you ready. So let me give you some practical refrain for it. So 3 things I'm holding on to this season: practical and real. Number 1, stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. And I heard that a really long time ago. Someone said that, and that's something that I always remember. Social media is a highlight reel. You're watching people wins and comparing them to you. You're behind the scenes. That's not a fair fight. Run your own race, because the joy is in the journey, and you have to embrace the journey. Because if you try to run other people's race, you forget about yourself. And number 2, redefine what progress looks like. Progress isn't always something visible. Sometimes progress is slow. Sometimes you don't quit today. You show up again. You choose faith over fear. More times that counts. Prime example, it took me 6 months to start closing in insurance sales. I struggled for 6 months. I wanted to quit several times. No matter what, I just kept showing up. I kept showing up until it took one person to take a chance on me, and I closed them. And that's a prime example of not quitting and not giving up just because it gets hard. Number 3, stay connected to your why. When you're tired and it's not moving and you can't see the end, you need something deeper than motivation. Motivation is based on how you feel. Purpose is based on what you're called to. Get back to the why. For me, is this. I believe people need to be reminded that the struggle isn't the end of the story. that endurance has value, that God doesn't waste a hard season. That's why I make content. That's why I build the brand. That's why that keeps me going when nothing else does. So I don't have to finish the story to give you today, but I'm still working the tables. I'm still building the brand, and I'm still figuring it out day by day. But I'm not behind, and neither are you, and neither are you stuck, because you're in a season, and the seasons change, and what God is growing in you right now, through the grinding, through the waiting, through the juggling, is going to matter more than you know. Don't give up before the harvest. And if this hit home, drop a comment and tell me what you're juggling with right now. I want to know. I want to read every single one. And subscribe if you're new here. We're building something real. And I'll see you in the next video. Now, I don't edit my videos too crazy, and everything's just authentic and raw. Yeah, I messed up a couple of times, but I want to be my authentic self with you guys, and I want to take y'all along this journey. See y'all in the next video.